From the Columbus City Schools studios, welcome to Face Us. It's the show that connects families, community, and schools. Here are your hosts, Seneca Bing and Garima Woldemariam.
Hey friend.
Hey friend.
And hey you. Welcome to season number 2. We missed you.
We did. This season we are digging in to discover we can dream big for our kids and achieve more for our community.
Today we are talking literacy with Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, Kelly Rivers, and how CCS is planning to teach the science of reading.
Then we will sit down with Superintendent and CEO Dr. Angela Chapman and Chief of Strategy and Performance Russ Brown to vision cast how we use data and share our data from this year's state report card.
But first, let's see what's happening in Columbus City Schools.
Greetings and welcome to this week's highlights from across the district. October is National Principals Month, a time to celebrate the outstanding leaders who guide our schools with vision, dedication, and compassion. Our principals are not only administrators, they are mentors, advocates, and champions for every student's success. Join us in recognizing their hard work and commitment to creating positive learning environments that inspire our students to dream big and achieve more each and every day. Let's take this opportunity to express our gratitude for their leadership and support. October is a busy month in our district. In addition to National Principal Month, we are excited to celebrate Latinx Heritage Month. This vibrant celebration reflects our Latinx community's rich histories, cultures, and contributions. Columbus City Schools will host various educational events and activities throughout the month to promote understanding and appreciation. We invite all students, staff, and families to participate in these enriching experiences as we continue our commitment to equity and inclusion. Let's unite to honor the diverse backgrounds and stories that enrich our district. Congratulations to Kevin Darther Jr., Hamilton STEM's physical education teacher, for being awarded the prestigious Extra Yard for Teachers Award by the College Football Playoff Foundation. In a heartfelt surprise in front of his students, Coach Darther received this honor from the Ohio State University Department of Athletics in recognition of his outstanding contributions to the OSU Life Sports program. In addition to his role at Hamilton STEM, Coach Darther also coaches boys basketball at Lyndon McKinley High School. He was recognized during the OSU game against Marshall University on September 21st. Way to go, Coach Darther. Adam Warren, South High School's head custodian, has been honored with the Ohio School Board Association's Exemplary School Employee Award. With 16 years of service to Columbus City Schools, Adam's contributions go far beyond maintaining the school's physical space. Whether greeting students with a smile or coaching on the field, Adam's dedication to nurturing a positive and supportive environment makes him a South High School community pillar. This well-deserved recognition reflects Adam's profound impact on students and staff. Congratulations, Adam.
All right, so we are here at the amazing Parkmoor Elementary School. This is a kid's paradise. I will tell you, it is fantastic. And I am joined by the incomparable, amazing Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, Ms. Kelly Rivers. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Yes. So the t-shirt that I'm wearing came compliments of our literacy team last year because we are we have a hyper focus on literacy and making sure that our students get what they need. So can you talk to me about some of the amazing things that you all have been doing?
So we've done a lot of work with training our teachers in the science of reading. So we are proud to say that we have trained over 1,500 teachers in letters, which is a language essentials for teachers of reading and spelling. And so we have trained our teachers. That is a premier science of reading professional development. And so we are completing our final 2 modules this year. We are super excited about that, and training our teachers, occupational therapists, our speech therapists, our intervention specialists. We are all tapped into really making sure we improve our knowledge around the science of reading.
We know that it takes all of us to help support. Can you talk about some of the ways in which you've noticed instruction shifting over time?
Absolutely. I think it's also important to call out our classified staff. So our classified staff has also participated in letters. Additionally, for our pre-K staff, they went and did the letters training together collectively, all 4 modules. So absolutely. So I want to also call out our classified staff and not just our certified staff as well. But everybody is all tapped into making sure that we understand how children learn to read. We don't have to guess. We don't have to speculate. There is research out there. There is science out there, and so we are able to tap into that and make sure that all of us are invested in that. But it absolutely does take a village. Teaching reading is difficult. It is rocket science, and so it's going to take all of us invested in doing this together.
So when they are going through some of the letters training, can you take us through kind of just big picture, right? We won't get in, all the way in, but big picture on what that is.
There has to be a focus on phonological awareness, and that just means like being able to hear sound. So it's really just hearing only. So it's rhyming, noticing the syllables in the words, knowing parts of the words, being in break apart sounds, and hearing those sounds. That's the first step, because English has a lot more sounds in it than many other languages. Really just focus on phonics and making sure that our kids understand that sounds are related to letters or groups of letters. Those letters then come together to create sometimes new sounds, and then we create these things called words, and we put the words together and it's a sentence, and we put the sentence together and it becomes a story. And so our kids have to understand that progression. And then we can't forget about vocabulary, fluency, and comprehension. So we want to make sure that the reading sounds good. You don't want your reading to sound choppy. When a reading sounds fluid, then that means students are understanding what they're reading, right? Really breaking those things down that seem so simple but are very complex to teach. That's really what we're doing with letters.
If you could give me a quick example, right, because we always like to model, of a word that we could sound out if we are doing that, how would you teach that to me?
So let's just start like with the kindergarten word. This is good. So let's just start with the kindergarten word. Let's start with a nonsense word, right? Because if you use a regular word, we use those words interchangeably every day. So let's start with a word like fem, right? Not a real word. So we want to break apart that sound. So we want the students to be able to hear the 3 individual sounds in that fem, right? F, M. We want our students to hear those individual sounds, but then we want the students to blend those sounds together, because that is what makes up a word or a word part. So like when we're doing those nonsense words, that's the key to those longer words that our kids have to figure out, and that's why we want them to understand how to break apart those sounds, how to be able to dissect them to build bigger words.
I need to go back, because film, I wouldn't have thought there were 3 parts, but M, right?
Yes.
So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
So as we kind of wrap up this portion, what is something that you would, a piece of advice or a way that if I am a family member, if I am a community member and I work with our little biddies all the way up, how would I be able to support what Columbus City Schools is doing with literacy?
So I think the main thing is making sure that your child has access to reading each day, right? A space in your home, right, that you dedicate for homework. It doesn't have to be, you may not have an entire space that is unusable and is only for homework, but maybe it's a homework time and you use it at the kitchen table and your child knows at 4 from 4:30, this is what we do at this time in this space. So having a routine in place is certainly helpful. Making sure sure the students are reading 20 minutes a day. I can't say enough about that. So the vocabulary that we might use interchangeably, our conversation, differs a lot from the academic vocabulary that students see on exams, also see as they move into career and college and beyond, right? So there's way more vocabulary that's used beyond what we use conversationally. And that's why reading those 20 minutes are essential, because that's where you're going to pick up that vocabulary that isn't in our everyday conversation. It isn't in my everyday conversation. And I consider myself like immersed in this reading world, right? But that's not vocabulary I use every day. So making sure that your child reads 20 minutes a day, and also supporting your child. So even when your child is struggling with reading or may have a difficulty reading a book, it's like, okay, I chose the wrong book for you. Let me go find a different story so we can read it together. Always making it positive, and just, you know, they might need a break and come back. That just supportive and saying you're doing a good job.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So you heard those tips, those tools, those strategies. I want to thank you so much for joining us and for just all of the great information that you gave.
And thank you for all the work that you guys do to really involve our family ambassadors in this work. It really is a team effort. You called out, obviously, our department. We certainly appreciate that. And you called out transformation and leadership, because it takes our principals, our schools. Absolutely. But your team does an amazing job in pulling our family ambassadors, reaching out to family, because it's going to take all of us, family, school, and community, to do this work. So I wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. So we are with the incredible Principal Dr. Charmaine Campbell of Parkmoor Elementary School. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I know that you and your team have been doing a lot around reading, around literacy, and so can you talk to us about what's happening at Parkmoor?
Absolutely. So our school has worked together to create a plan to follow the district adopted curriculum. So each day our teachers follow the literacy block that was constructed by the curriculum department. So if you go into any of our classrooms, K-5, you are going to see the literacy block being followed. In our K-2 classrooms, you're going to see Val Valleys, you're going to see secret stories, you will see the learning intentions posted, you will see the standards being followed. The students will be able to articulate the success criteria that will be developed at the end of each lesson. And so every day at the same time, they follow the same schedule. So we have adopted a master schedule, which also has the interventions woven into that schedule every day for all of the grades to follow, to provide interventions and enrichments for our primary students as well as our intermediate students. On top of that, our teachers allow for our students to interact with one another collaboratively. They do turn-in talks. They interact with the material. They read, they partner read. They make a lot of self-to-text connections. In addition to this, I emphasize to my teachers 4 words: consistency, persistence, diligence, and no procrastination. And that yields high results. And so if they do Heggerty every day, if they do Foundations every day, if they follow the scope and sequence of HMH, you're going to get those results. And so if the district has goals and guardrails for us to follow, that's what we do.
Education pioneer Dr. Ronald Edmonds, a renowned Harvard educator, tireless advocate for urban education, and rooted in equitable systems before it became a buzzword, proclaims something simple and profound. All children can learn if we lean into specific areas to affect student achievement. We can, whenever and wherever we choose, successfully teach all children whose schooling is of interest to us. We already know more than we need in order to do this. Whether we do it must finally depend on how we feel about the fact that we haven't so far. Not only is this a statement from Dr. Edmonds, it has been a call to action from our superintendent, Dr. Angela Chapman, challenging thousands of educators and staff from around the district to be unyielding in our focus on student achievement. Welcome, Dr. Chapman, and our Chief of Strategy and Performance, Dr. Russ Brown.
So first of all, I'd like to give a shout out to our nice and new set. You guys get to be the first guests to be here with us today. But When we think about the vision of dream big and achieve more, how does that call to action manifest into the classroom?
Yes, so when I think about our vision, what we want to be true for all of our scholars, that's over 45,000 scholars across the district, pre-K through 12, I think it means being very clear about our expectations and making sure that we have aligned our actions and our strategies as adults to those outcomes that we are aiming to achieve for our students. And so that starts at the board table. Our board members have identified 3 board goals, a goal for early literacy, a goal for math, and a goal for graduation. And we have worked diligently the past couple of years, and this year is our first year of implementing our math goal, of cascading those goals throughout the organization and investing our time, resources to make sure our staff have the resources that they need to meet those goals.
Thank you. And before we talk about the details of all of this, I want to ask both of you, what are your hopes and dreams for the students and families of this district? Dr. Brown?
Well, I know for me, I'm a product of public education. I know what it's done for me in my own life. And to me, it's a great equalizer. It's this opportunity for students, our students, to have an opportunity to access the things that are coming to Columbus. We know Columbus is a growing community. We know that there are going to be wonderful opportunities in the IT world for students and adjacent industries. And I really want to see our students poised to be able to take advantage of those opportunities as they come available over time. So, you know, it is this great leveling. It is the, from my seat, the civil rights action of our time to ensure that our students are poised to be able to have those opportunities like their suburban counterparts.
Thank you. Dr. Chapman?
And I'll build on that by saying that it is certainly my hope that every student, regardless of their race, regardless of their background, regardless of their zip code, has every opportunity and every resource to reach their fullest potential. We want all of our students, beginning as early as pre-K, to have opportunities to have access to rigorous and relevant curriculum. We want them to have supports and resources to support their social emotional needs. And we want them to feel loved. We want them to feel seen and valued as the amazing individuals that they all are. When we think about that continuum, that starting in pre-K, going through elementary, middle school, and high school, I want all of our high school students to have the opportunity and access to graduate from high school, not only with the diploma, but also with credentials, so that they are put on a trajectory that helps to prepare and propel them for success after they graduate. That could be going straight into higher ed, that could be career and having access to high-skilled, a high-paying job right here in our community, could be the military, or could be an entrepreneurship for some of our young people who want to start their own business. We want to make sure that whatever their hopes and dreams are, that their education and their experience with us is preparing them to exceed those expectations and meet their dreams for themselves.
Thank you. And we talk a lot about hopes and dreams with our department, and you know, the community and our families are an important part of this partnership. So tell me, what role do they play in this work?
I would say that it's everyone's responsibility, right? When we are thinking about raising and preparing our students for tomorrow, that work begins today, but it's not isolated to the school day, right? And so we're preparing our students, we're shaping their worldview, we're shaping their perspectives in all the interactions, whether that's before school starts, during school, or after school. And so we certainly want to name that we are doing this work in partnership and in collaboration with our community, with our partners, our business community, with our parents, with our families. We need everyone to be in position to support our students so that they can be successful.
Thank you for that. And so most recently, the state of Ohio released the report cards for all the school districts. And you had an opportunity to speak to the board and the community. And most know that the report cards now have 1 to 5 stars on those that include achievement, progress, gap closing, graduation, and early literacy. So talk to us a little bit about how Columbus City Schools did.
Sure. As we had that opportunity to have a dialogue with the community before about this, our star rating remained stable. We had 2 stars this year. But we know that the star ratings only tell part of the story, that the movement of the things that build up to create the stars is really where the story's at. And I think it aligns very well to the work that the board has put before us in terms of the board goals around early literacy and graduation, where we saw a lot of movement behind the scenes on that. We spent some time talking about that in the board meeting. So when you bring up achievement, for example, we had 16 schools that improved star ratings this time. There's pretty significant movement on that. And if you look at the data behind that, reading and math, over the past 2 years, we've seen gains in virtually every grade and subject. And if we didn't have gains, we at least kept our place in line on that. So again, this focus, particularly in early literacy, really shows up. And as kids progress, that carries forward. It's almost like an interest payment. As you move kids further ahead, then they carry that with them. They carry that knowledge and those skills forward, and it better positions them moving forward as we go through. So both in reading and math, we saw improvements, which was really wonderful. If we look at gap closing, for example, we had a 20% reduction in chronic absenteeism over the last couple of years. That is huge. And again, thank you to our community and folks who really helped to increase the awareness of the importance of every day of attendance for our students. For our students to be able to benefit from instruction, they have to be in school to do it. And what we've learned is, if students aren't in school on a regular basis, their likelihood of being successful goes downhill very quickly. So attendance is really that first place we want to lean in. Progress, we held our own on that. We've got this focus on growth that will support that. It really is important to accelerate growth for our students. It's part of what we talk about every day as we move through this. And in terms of graduation, unfortunately, the report card is focused on last year's graduation rate, the 22-23 year. Right. Really thrilled to be able to say that we expect a significant increase in the graduation rate for the 23-24 school year. We'll be talking about that at the board table here soon. And I think it's an exciting story. And again, a testament to that board goal where we've been talking about having students on track, starting in 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, ultimately bearing change for graduation in the end. And we see the fruits of that labor paying off for our students. And as we keep more kids on track, then we have an opportunity to get more kids into post-secondary pathways and invest more of that time while they're in high school with us in things that better prepare them for those post-secondary opportunities that we've talked about. And then finally, when we talk about early literacy, again, one of those board goal areas that we've been focused on for a long time. We've seen an increase in the proportion of students who are making stretch growth or on grade level in kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade. And that led to a significant increase in the 3rd grade performance in reading this year. And the proportion of students that we see moving from below grade level to on grade level in kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, where we've seen a steady increase in that as we focus on that and have sort of like a laser-like attention on that moving forward.
That's excellent, and thank you. And, talking about early literacy and really establishing the love of learning and also closing those gaps is very important from both of your point of views as you go out into the district. What are you seeing in the classrooms? How is that love of learning being translated in those early years?
Well, just think about pre-K through grades 2. We are seeing more time during the instructional day earmarked solely for literacy. And so I would say that structured literacy, where there's time to focus on foundations or the foundational skills that students need, there's high quality resources that are being used by educators to make sure that students are unlocking the code to reading and they are learning those foundational skills that they need to be successful so they can apply them in later grades. In the early grades, we say that our students are learning how to read, and then grades 3 and above, they are reading to learn. It's very, very important that our students have the foundational skills in literacy in order to be able to make those connections. And so as a district, we have made significant investments over the last few years, investing and aligning our practices to the science of reading, and that means we've been investing in our people. We have been making sure that our educators have the skills that they need to teach reading. And again, it is aligned to the science of reading, is aligned to how the brain processes letters and sounds. And so we believe that this is a significant investment that is going to truly be a game changer that is helping our students unlock the code to reading. We're gonna have stronger readers, which creates stronger leaders, and they have a stronger foundation in the early grades, so they're gonna be able to perform stronger in the upper grades. So it's truly a systemic, district-wide investment that we can see in our classrooms across the district.
Lots of great intentionality that you spoke about. So let's focus on that third grade, right? We often hear that third grade is that important year and marks a lot of, shows student success moving forward. Why is that?
Well, as the superintendent just mentioned, it is that transition point from learning to read to reading to learn. If I haven't made that transition, if I haven't acquired sufficient reading skills so that I can use reading as a means to access other knowledge to inform my education, I'm behind at that point. And so those advancements in early literacy, kindergarten through 3, are incredibly important to position students to be closer to that over time, and we're really moving the needle there. You know, speaking of investments, the investment this year to expand the number of pre-K classrooms in our system, incredibly important. We know that in our system that many students, as they enter kindergarten, are behind. So there's only so much that can happen between kindergarten and third grade. So having that additional opportunity of another year to work with our students is a game changer for our community. Early literacy, it is the first sort of stepping stone for students in their success in the rest of their education. And having that additional time that is afforded through pre-K is just incredibly important.
Thank you for that. So a couple of groups that I want to talk about are students that learn differently, right? Our diverse learners, special education for most folks, and then our English language learners. I know that the district has done a really great job of prioritizing the diversity in this district and putting both our intentionality and dollars there. So can you talk to us about how we focused on special education and the work and effort that has gone into that?
I would say that another strategy that we have prioritized these last couple of years is focusing on our MTSS system, our multi-tiered systems of support. And when we think about MTSS, we are making sure that there's high quality core instruction for all students. And then we think about what additional layers of support are needed for students regardless of their learning needs, right? So that would be a tier 2 intervention. What additional supports? Maybe it's math support, maybe it's reading support, maybe it's language support. And then another tier would be, third tier would be more specialized programming for students who are learning another language, students who have maybe an IEP or 504 plan. And so as we think about those tiers of support, we want to make sure that there's universal support for all students. And then we want to scaffold and think about what additional supports are needed based on a student's individual needs.
We've come to our closing, but it's not easy work, it's hard work, but as we say around here, it's also hard work. And we thank you for both being champions for our students, families, and the community, and thank you for joining us today for Faces.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.